A lot of people were getting diagnosed in the last couple of years because of COVID, because this was the first time they were actually seeking therapy. So
okay.
Sometimes people go to a primary care doctor. Some people go to a therapist. Some people start with a coach because they're feeling the symptoms and they don't necessarily need the diagnosis to get the support that they need. Any direction forward is a direction forward to help get the support that you need. And I think it's really important to build the team of support regardless of where you start.
I love that you said that, because I feel like whenever there's a diagnosis, like no matter what it is, we immediately think, oh, I need medication.
Right.
Like, give me the drug. Let me go to my doctor. I now need to self-identify on all these forms to tell the world that I have this. But you're saying, if you feel this way, just get the support. And that could be a coach like yourself to work with, to get coping strategies. It could be a therapist to do some like cognitive behavioral therapy, some solution-focused therapy, or go to your primary care. And your primary care is the one who'd be able to prescribe medication if needed.
Yes. And that's actually something that I want to touch base on, because there are a lot of women who were potentially diagnosed as children and given medication and told,
that's it,
you're cured. But that's not how it works. Your brain fundamentally works differently than other people. So there's that aspect as well. So it can be really supportive to have medication. But again, this is one of those things that it's a overarching support that is going to help you feel your best in your job or at home or in your relationships in general, so you can communicate what your needs are and what support looks like for you.
At what age were you diagnosed?
I was 8. So I've been called a unicorn in this space because so many people are diagnosed as adults, but I was actually diagnosed at 8 because of my dyslexia. I could not read, and I'm very privileged in my story, my upbringing when it comes to this, but my mom and dad were packing me for sleepaway camp, and my mom asked me if I wanted to pack any books, and I looked at her and I laughed, and I was like, why? I can't read. And my mom's looking at me and she goes, I'm sorry, what?
What did you say?
You're 8 years old. What do you mean you can't read? She's like, I knew you didn't like to read, but I didn't know you felt like you couldn't.
Interesting.
I memorized every single book I ever read, which is why my memory is exceptional, but word for word. And that is what I thought reading was. And then you get to chapter books. There's more words per page. I didn't realize that's not what reading was. So
that's insane.
Yeah. I've heard this a lot actually with kids with dyslexia, and it runs in families too.
I'm sure. I think there's so many things that I'm a big believer in therapy. My master's is in counseling, that there's so many things that we normalize, especially as children, that we think we got this message, like this is just how we do it. We think it's okay. Right. And sometimes we could take that all the way through adulthood if never stopped to know that like, that's not the way, like things could be easier for you. They do not have to be this difficult.
Yes.
The pressure that you must have had at 8 to memorize.
I wasn't thinking about it like in the forefront of my memory, but then I started to... My parents redid part of our home, and I found a lot of the counseling information when it came to my diagnosis. And my parents described an insane amount of anxiety at 8 that I read and I cried, because I didn't think it was that apparent, but apparently it was very apparent that I was struggling. I remember talking about the fact that I didn't want people to think I was stupid. And I didn't put dyslexia in the front of it. I couldn't describe what it was, but I was clearly very anxious. And even after I got the diagnosis and I got the support, I was still very conscious of the fact that I didn't want people to think I was stupid, because a lot of adults called me stupid. Yeah. In classrooms, in a lot of different settings, and that weighs on your psyche.